and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So, once again, we're seeing activists step up, real activists, dare I say it, step up and hold the progressive Democrats accountable for their hypocrisy. Now, I remember in 2018 when AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Presley, when they stepped up, they were supposedly the squad, and they were going to raise the ruckus. And finally, the progressives had a voice in the United States House of Representatives, but it was a lie. The Justice Democrats' brand new Congress, our revolution, were nothing but frauds. 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 I'm going to say it again. Frauds. Failing to follow through with their promises. And so whenever there was a point where Hard Lens Media, Jimmy Dore, RBN were challenging or at least asking these quote-unquote House progressive Democrats, hey, how come you're not doing this or that? How come you're falling in line with the Democratic establishment? Oh, their sycophants on social media were quick to say, oh, you're being violent. You're not being real activists. But here's the thing about being a real activist. That means you have to be the one to take the initiative to challenge those in power. And the squad are representatives in power. They're waiting in wings for the old guard to die off. Let's face it, people like Nancy Pelosi are just not going to humbly step down. They're going to die in office. That's how they're going to do it because they're selfish. The quote Tulsi Gabbard, the United States House of Representatives have nothing but a high school mentality. That's what she said in an interview with Joe Rogan. Be sure to check out that interview whenever you have the time. But apparently now we're seeing more activists. And again, shout out to people like Jose Vega and his colleagues and friends. I know there's a lot of you. Apologies if I'm not naming you all, but I know all of you are working together to really step up to call out all these lawmakers, Democrat and Republican, for their hypocrisy. Recently, Rashida Tlaib was confronted at the University of Michigan over her pro-war stance in Ukraine. We all have seen the news, how Ukraine is getting a lot of money. And I'm being generous with that word a lot. We know it's upon millions, upon millions, upon millions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Dare I say it, it's in the billions. But yet, when it's time for us to get fresh, clean drinking water, funding for our schools, student debt forgiveness, Medicare for all, much needed infrastructure investment. Oh, no, we don't have the money. I never, ever, ever want to hear diehard liberals or Republican think tank establishment frauds say, oh, we can't do student debt forgiveness or Medicare for all because the country will go broke. Man, we're finding billions of dollars just to give to Ukraine for this ridiculous war that if one day someone finds that nice shiny red button, well, then it's the nukes are going to be a luncheon and it's mushroom clouds in the sky and the extinction of the human species. But I want to play this video. And notice the body language of Rashida Tlaib when she is confronted by an activist. Hey, raise the ruckus, right? Wasn't Rashida Tlaib the person who said, hey, we're going to impeach this MFer, right? We all know that, right, Rashida? That's what you said? Well, here's an activist calling you out. And I want to acknowledge the original tweet where this came from, Citizen Free Press. Please be sure to give them a follow on social media. It's the right thing to do. So there you go. Let's play this video in its full entirety. I will pause it from time to time to add in my commentary too.
All right, so this is the last question.
That's not how we're doing questions.
Nope.
Any place that you could get more.
Nope. No. You can't interrupt. I'm going to start again, but just notice how they were quick to say, nope, no asking questions. Don't ask questions. Only follow orders.
All right, so this is the last question.
That's not how we're doing questions.
Nope.
Any place that you could get more money for the Wayne County region, that it would come from the $100 billion that we've sent to over $100 billion to Ukraine to fight a war, which I can't imagine if we're talking about moneyed interests and talking about big lobbying groups, that there wouldn't be more of an effort to go after that. Further, the revelations recently over the Nord Stream pipeline explosion from Seymour Hersh, which point to the very clear evidence that it was the United States that did the bombing.
And we'll be playing 2 follow-up videos from Case Study QB in regards to that. But notice, look at Rashida. I'm glad I paused it right here perfectly, too. All the while controlling this board. I got to give myself a thumbs up for that. But look, she's got that head like, facts and information. He's not following through with the Democrat propaganda. Someone who's authentic and really challenging me. She's got that, like, I got a migraine. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe I have to listen to these plebs. That's the body language. I wanted to point that out to all of you. I hope all of you are noticing it. In fact, here, I'm going to remove yours truly. Do you see it? Right there. Just wanted to share that with all of you. Just so all of you could see it firsthand. Look at that. That's how she feels about being presented with facts and information.
I think is a very important thing to identify because you, Congresswoman, have not voted against the funding of Ukraine. And it puts to the lie the whole notion of the rules-based. It's an important question. Let me finish.
But it is an important question. I mean, all this money's going to Ukraine. You know what? It's just okay. All this billions of dollars. 1 year this war's been going on. All right. And the only people I feel sorry for are civilians, right? Civilians. Russian civilians, Ukrainian civilians. I know, controversial statement. European civilians, especially the Germans who are freezing. You know, we got the American civilians who are facing with inflation. All the European civilians, everybody's suffering because of this war. Because if one dumb leader pushes that shiny red button, we're done for. But yet somehow we have money for war, but no money for the American people. I mean, people of Ohio, shout out to our Ohio audience. You know, I hope all of you are safe. I hope your communities do recover in time. I'm sorry what happened, especially to people in East Palestine. But my advice to you guys is it's real simple. Change the Ohio state flag to Ukrainian flag, and maybe Biden might be senile enough to give you guys a relief package. I mean, hell, dare I say it, maybe every single American state should do that. People of Hawaii, do that. The underground water has been contaminated. People of Flint, Michigan, do that. You all haven't had clean drinking water, for years now. Hell, maybe Chicago should do that too. We have lead in our drinking water and so much more. Did you know that in the city of Chicago, if you want to update your pipes and equipment and anywhere else because it might be out of date, it is your financial responsibility to fix it, not the city's. I know. Madness. Richest country in the world, folks. Richest country in the world.
And so my question is, if write it down, if you're promoting this idea of the rules-based order, yet we proceed to blow up pipelines, including in ally Germany.
And this is also right here again. You know, I mentioned this when I played the video of Jose Vega when he was calling out Hakeem Jeffries and any other person that's right now calling out these Democratic and yes, Republican lawmakers for their hypocrisy. I want to make this very clear. Whenever you hear one of these dumb people say, oh, if I was alive in 1930s Germany, I would have been the good one and helped the Jews. If I lived in the 1800s when slavery was around, I would have helped out with the Underground Railroad. No, they would not have. No. What people are doing is a fantasy time travel by putting themselves in an era that clearly they were not born in. Most likely, if said person was around, they would not be who they are because of said environment for today. It only takes the brave and the bold to really step up. Think about how much courage it is to go up against one of the quote-unquote progressive heavyweights like Rashida Tlaib or AOC. That takes a lot of courage because they got a lot of sycophants around. They got a lot of supporters. People who are blind, who've been sheepdogged into the Democratic Party, the same Democratic Party that screwed over Bernie Sanders not once but twice, same Democratic Party that vilified progressives and independents. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? This takes courage to do this. It takes courage, which a vast majority of the quote-unquote activist SJW people have. They don't have it. They're nothing but sheep. How do I know? Well, I've seen the sheep get herded into a little pen by the police here in Chicago when they were protesting Trump. They're not as tough as they say they are. Matt Taibbi is right. The left is toothless, unfortunately. Vast majority don't have what it takes to do what this person is doing right here.
Then will you continue to go along with this lie?
Habibi, thank you. We really appreciate the input. And thank you for your care and consideration. We have a process that we've been following.
We have a process we are following. We are only following orders.
I think your question is a very important one. It's not really the space, right? It's kind of out of context. There are a lot of important questions. We're not trying to answer all of them here. So we're talking about specifically environmental justice, specifically in this region. Really appreciate your question, and I appreciate your care on the issue. We're not actually going to take it because there was a whole process here that we really appreciate you respect it. So thank you for your question. Really appreciate it. Understood. Not the right venue, not the right time, not the right space. Thank you so much.
When is the right time? When is the right space? And look at the body language right there. Like, ugh, dang it. To quote Edward Heller, because I saw your live stream chat. Dang it. Now I got to be held responsible. I like how this person hasn't moved. The person to the, I guess how I'm looking on the screen, my right. She's just there. She hasn't moved at all. Is she still alive? Okay, I'm being mean. Evil Kit. I'm sorry. It's just at this point, there was a time I actually had hope. I'm with Roger Meadows, man. Abolish political parties, citizen ballot initiatives. We're not going to get Medicare for all. Rashida Tlaib will tweet out what Medicare for all means for you. What would it mean for you? But, they're never going to follow through. Forced to vote was a real thing. We saw the Republicans do it. Hey, squad, y'all could have done that too, but oh no, you want to be polite.
All right, next question.
So this is the
Clap, sheep, clap. I actually, okay, I should have said seals. Okay, well, I screwed that up.
This is the last.
I think you should just read the question.
Yeah, here we go. Ready? I'm going to hold the mic up
here.
right here. So this last question's in first person. So it's not actually me asking the question. I work for the U.S. Environmental Protection.
That's how you do it, bro. This man is a goddamn hero, okay? Because you know what? Even though they're shouting it down, they're saying this is safe space, not the time. No, you keep at it. These politicians have gold-plated health care, six-figure salaries, and get to have wonderful, lavish lifestyles. Check out some of the early episodes I've done with Fair and Balanced where she talks about these politicians in Washington, D.C. They live a very comfortable life. These people don't work. Why should they live comfortably while the rest of you starve and struggle?
Agency.
Be covered up. Where's the dignity? Where's the honesty?
And that's right. She's like, ugh. I'm here to get praise from my followers who always smile when I fart in the room.
Where are you going to tell the truth? This is a lie that you're allowing to continue to be told at the expense of your own constituency. Think of the $100 billion that could be going to Detroit, could be going to Dearborn.
Correct.
All right, hey, I tried to say it kindly.
Oh, he tried to say it kindly because, he doesn't really care, but he's right. Yes, Rashida, people are paying attention to this. A part of me is looking forward to 2024, but the other part of me is not, because I know people are going to be so triggered by Trump that they're not going to think clearly. But honestly, Democrats, that's all you got. Oh, you got to vote for us because Trump. There's a 50-50 chance. If he pulls it off in the primary, he could win the presidency again. And there's a lot of political ammunition that he could use against the Biden-Harris administration. If Trump's smart and if he surrounds himself with people who know how to take advantage of it, then he can win. Because he was pretty stupid in 2020. 2016, that's the Trump that needs to come out there again. And no, this isn't an endorsement of it. But honest to God, the progressive movement, the Democratic Party needs another severe gut check, because it's not to reform it, but to end all political parties. There was no reforming the Democratic Party. It was a failed dream. Cenk, Kyle, Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, our revolution. $100 billion is going to Ukraine and much, much more. But where's our relief? Am I wrong? Someone tell me how I'm wrong. How am I wrong?
Blowing up things around the world and walking us into nuclear war.
So here, I'm just like, so everybody focus on me. Focus on me. All right, I want to say something here. There is a world in which sometimes people with great intentions miss the mark on the folks to whom they should be aiming those great intentions.
Fuck you. You nutless wonder. That guy there. Because the times in which you have to make the mark is the times in which you are sometimes vilified. I want to bring up another. There's an infamous photo. I think it's when I think 1930s, Hitler's giving a speech. Everyone's doing the big smile salute. Saw what I did there? The big smile. Yeah, that's right, YouTube. You can't hit me with that. I said big smile. Big smile. And there's one person who has his arms folded and crossed. He was the brave one. Vast majority of people, they didn't do it. All those people say, oh, I'll go back in time and I'd be a good person. I'd help out the slaves. I'd stop the Nazis. I'd be part of the resistance. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Whenever you hear somebody say that, I encourage you guys just to politely and sarcastically, but say it politely, just say, no, you wouldn't. And just walk away. No, you wouldn't have.
I'll be honest with you. I do not think, and I don't think anybody in this room thinks, that this congresswoman
You don't have to do that. Can you just grab
yeah,
the
here we
card
go.
and
Yeah,
read it?
I'm
is the
Grab
person
card and
who's
read it.
leading that to happen. So let's go ahead and answer the question.
I'm just grab the card.
All right. So this question says, I work for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Myself and many of my colleagues work tirelessly.
Congresswoman Tlaib, I need to know, will you support Representative Gates' resolution to pull troops out of Syria? These wars are going to get us
Oh, and they're like, oh no, it's a woman now questioning us. That's not supposed to happen. Told you we're going to have a fun show.
killed. We are forcing the Syrians into massive starvation. This is not something to ignore.
And they're, no, but they do ignore you. They do ignore anyone that's going to challenge them.
The bill is going to be voted on Wednesday. Why are people ignoring this? People are dying in your name. You are my representative, Representative Tlaib. I demand an answer to this resolution. I'm going to call your
And look, again, all these people who say they care about the issue. You know, by the way, hey, Representative Rashida Tlaib, you know the kids are still in cages, right? Ah, well, whatever. I guess, hey, folks, it's a non-issue. Don't worry about it.
office. I'm going to be at your office. We need to pull our troops out of Syria. We need to stop the sanctions on these wars. Oh my God.
Keep going.
This is fucking crazy.
It is madness and stupidity. So let's talk about what's happening with Ukraine. Because Representative Rashida Tlaib, you may not know this, but all of a sudden, BSDNC is having a discussion that suggests, hang on, folks. I hope all of you are sitting down. I don't want you to fall out of your chairs, okay? The last thing I need on social media is to say, Heartlands Media said something really insane, and I fell out of my chair and broke my knee. Hashtag unsubscribed. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Stay subscribed. But shout out to this Case Study QB who found this video. I don't know how you do a case. Full discussion on intelligence suggests pro-Ukrainian groups sabotaged the pipeline. What? It wasn't the Russians? Pro-Ukrainian group? What? Hang on. Hold on. Because there's a time to be professional, and then there's just a time to be like, folks, I only could try and be kind and nice for so long, but folks, we're being screwed.
There's new information this morning about last September's attacks on the Nord Stream pipelines in the Baltic Sea. The New York Times is reporting new intelligence reviewed by U.S. officials indicates the attacks were carried out by a pro-Ukrainian group. Explosions damaged the pipelines last September, leading to a global blame game that was still going on up to this week. Russia accused the West of destroying the pipelines, which transport its gas to Europe. Now, the information reviewed by U.S. officials has led them to believe the saboteurs were most likely Ukrainian or Russian nationals, or some combination of the two.
Wait a minute. That's not what corporate media was saying. Back in the day, they were saying it was Russia. A pipeline in which Russia was making money, giving gas to Germans because the Germans didn't have nuclear power plants anymore, and they had to be reliant on that pipeline. So you're telling me that a pro-Ukrainian group did that, and now the Germans and a couple other European nations have to suffer because they don't get the gas? What? Are you telling me that fake outrage, a possible false flag, was done to get people angry? To encourage more financial support to Ukraine for this ridiculous war that's happening? What's going on? And by the way, again, folks, just your gentle reminder, as the Russian tanks were getting closer to the Ukrainian border, our politicians knew. In the House of Representatives, I know, hold on. Let me talk to you face to face. You need to hear this. Some people might not be able to handle this. As those tanks were getting to the border, as I said before, our politicians do insider trading. Many of these politicians were given the heads up. Now, did you think, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 if you think, as soon as our House representatives, people like Nancy Pelosi, heard the news, they quickly called for an emergency session to call for diplomatic talks right away. We can't have war. Type 2 if no, Kit. What they did is they decided to make a killing with insider trading with stocks associated with the military industrial complex, big oil, weapons manufacturing, and more. I know. That option 2 seems so brutal and harsh. Our politicians would never be that heartless. They're supposed to care about us, right? What do you think happened? By the way, follow Unusual Whales because that's a Twitter account, Unusual Whales, because on Twitter, they posted that our politicians in 2022 made a killing in their stock trades. I'm just saying, if you think your politicians care about you, you're so wrong.
That were trying to help Kyiv. The Times reports those officials say no American or British nationals were involved, and that at this point, there's no evidence that Ukrainian President Zelensky or his government were involved either. The Ukrainian government has also denied it had anything to do with this. The officials added the explosives were likely planted with the help of experienced divers who did not appear to be working for either the military or intel services.
Experienced divers, listen. Those waters are cold. Setting up those kind of, explosives takes experience. Now, maybe it was a pro-Ukrainian group, but you got to have your stripes to know what you're doing. And I want to also acknowledge what Eleanor wrote here in the live stream chat, and that is, Kit, they care about us, the politicians, like they care about the people in East Palestine, Ohio. That's right. Now, politicians don't care about us.
Kremlin spokesman Dimitri Peskov responded to the news, characterizing it as an attempt to, quote, divert attention. Joining us now, NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter, who's on the other side of the Atlantic for us. Molly, good morning. Great to see you. So let's talk about this revelation here that the U.S. believes that it was a pro-Ukraine force that sabotaged the pipeline. Early on, a lot in the West suggested Russia did it. That seems like maybe not the case anymore. Tell us the significance and also the strain it might put on the European allies.
If I was the European allies, I'd be like, what the hell? If I was a citizen in Europe, I'd be so furious. I'd be angry. So very angry. So very, very angry.
Yeah, Jonathan, this is really significant. And when you read that New York Times article, and again, NBC News has not independently confirmed that reporting, the U.S. officials stress this could really be the first significant lead in this global blame game. As you say, everyone has been.
Oh, so it's like the killer coming to a crime scene. You're like, hey, what happened here? While they're covered up in blood and entrails of their victim. They're like, I'm going to solve this mystery. Now, it looks like this person here had a knife. And all the while, they're using the knife to point at the body.
Been talking about this, looking at this, trying to investigate it since September. Of course, we are talking about Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. They both run from Russia to Germany. Now, many at the beginning, as you say, suggested that maybe it was Russians, that maybe it was even kind of people.
Listen, first of all, the Russians were making money off that. Putin was making money off it. You found one of his people who's doing that. They would not be dead, but no one's going to find them. There's a little spot in Siberia for them. And they ain't never coming home. Oh, the whole lie is falling apart. I said this before on the show. You could tell a well-crafted lie. You really could. But the thing about a lie is that they all fall apart. They're not structurally sound. Now, a well-placed lie can last for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, right? But eventually cracks start happening in the foundation. It's like that house that the Simpsons built for Ned Flanders when his house got destroyed by the hurricane. The house that love built. A toilet at the bottom of the stairs. Chief Wiggins' response was great. Hey, you ever tried lugging a toilet up the stairs? Ain't no one got time for that.
Allies of Ukraine, because Ukraine has opposed this project for so many years. They've been citing it as a national security threat. Of course, a very easy way for Russia to get their gas from Russia to Europe. In this New York Times report, though, there are a couple kind of glaring gaps, which U.S. officials admit they do not know. They do not know who exactly the group is. It does not specify the members of this group, who would have kind of...
Gee, who would have done it? Ooh, I don't know. Who could have done it? Hey, folks, this is going to be a word question. That's right, Miguel H. You got a homework assignment. Everyone's got a homework assignment. In the live stream chat, type in the live stream chat, well, who do you think's responsible? Who? There's no wrong answer. I want to see people be creative.
Directed or paid for this operation. They are clear, though, as you mentioned, that these were heavily skilled, highly skilled divers with maybe past military experience, and they were clearly opponents of Putin. Now, the article very clearly lays out, Jonathan, that President Zelensky is not implicated, nor are his top lieutenants. After the article was published in the New York Times, Jonathan, actually a very senior aide to President Zelensky tweeted out, and I actually think we have that tweet. Mikhailo Podolyak responded, and he says, although I enjoy collecting amusing conspiracy theories about the Ukrainian government, I have to say Ukraine has nothing to do with the Baltic Sea mishap and has no information about pro-Ukrainian sabotage groups. What happened to the Nord Stream pipelines? They sank, as the Russian Federation says itself. Now, to be very clear, of course, this may be the first significant lead. Lots to come, though, on exactly who and how that happened.
Gee, how'd that happen? How'd that happen, folks?
Yeah, certainly we'll all be watching for the response from Germany, which already has there's some tensions between Berlin and Kyiv as to how much Germany has been involved with their resistance. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter, thank you. We're going to have a lot more on that story later in this show.
So yeah, folks, that's the world we live in. Representative Rashida Tlaib, a lot of people are trying to question it now. And I know that you and your fantastic friends voted for that war funding. But hey, you know what? I got something to share with all of you. Let's see Rashida Tlaib do some fake outrage. Do a little bit of fake outrage. She's upset what's happening with, Dodd-Frank Wall Street reform. I know. She's got time to put on a show, theatrics for us. Let's all sit down, grab some popcorn. Told you we're going to have a fun show.
But what I hear consistently is folks thinking that's the reason. All of a sudden wages are skyrocketing and all this. But all I see is continuation, again, of those that are already getting a huge benefit, the folks at the top, the executives and so forth. My friend Glenn taught me this today, that the feds are actually sitting on, something in Dodd-Frank Section 956. You all are sitting on the last 12 years on guidance regarding executive compensation and the high risks of it.
Okay.
Like around, there was some sort of proposal done, not implemented. Again, it's been 12 years. Why is that something that you're not concerned about regarding inflation?
Well, gee, hold on. Representative, you're also voting in favor for war. You haven't done anything like do a force of vote or challenge the Democratic establishment. Maybe you should be looking at leadership, because 12 years ago, I know you weren't in office, and I know you were happy to say, let's impeach this MFer about Trump. But, last I checked, there was this guy, not important. Name was Bill Clinton, helped deregulate Wall Street, the Democrat. I know. I think his wife was, Hillary. That's right. Both good friends with Trump. Also, again, both Bill and Trump, good friends with prolific abuser. First name Jeffrey, last name E. That's right, YouTube. One step ahead of the game. I said the name Jeffrey E. What'd I do, YouTube? See, it's all theatrics. These politicians don't care. So, folks, as the story continues to develop, we're going to realize we are in a screwed up system that's trying to keep us blind and deaf. They will silence dissenting voices because they don't respect you. I think now more than ever, people need to break away from voting Democrat or Republican, start supporting citizen ballot initiatives, and abolish political parties.